We thank you so much for watching Law School Made Easy. At Law School Made Easy 256, we want to go to administrative law, and we want to particularly focus on the principle of natural justice. What do we mean when we come across a principle of natural justice? But we thank you so much for always watching Law School Made Easy at Law School Made Easy 256. Share, like, and subscribe to our channel. Let us straight enter into the principle of natural justice, and this topic is covered under administrative law. Now, when we are discussing the principle of natural justice, two things must cut across, two things must come in your mind. One is the rule of fair hearing, and two, the rule against bias. And these two are one, the rule against natural, the rule of fair hearing is what we call audi ultrama partem, which means fair hearing, and then nemo judex causua sua, which actually means rule against bias. You cannot be a judge in your own case. Okay, now the principle of natural justice, the rule of fair hearing, audi ultrama partem, which means fair hearing, originated right from the start of this universe. If you remember in the creation, in the beginning, when God assigned Adam to stay in the Garden of Eden, you see that Adam, after Eve eating the forbidden fruit, and then Eve comes to Adam, Adam also eats it. When God came, when they were in hiding, God called them. And when they came, God accorded them a fair hearing. He listened to all the parties. So that is what we mean by natural justice. Consider, in our constitution is enshrined under Article 28, consider that party that is affected. Listen to the other party. In the case you don't listen to the other party to give you their views, you are not promoting natural justice. So we are saying even at the creation, God accorded natural justice. Let's take a case of R versus the University of Cambridge. Now, this particular person, was refused from graduation. They refused him to graduate, and when they went, but they never listened to him and they cancelled his degree. But when they went to court in R versus the University of Cambridge, the court ruled that the only way you can terminate or cancel somebody's degree is by first according them a fair hearing. If you do not listen to what their side of the story is, then you cannot go ahead. It means that you have not listened to that person. So, what we mean by audi ultrama partem, the principle of fair hearing, is that listen to both parties. Accord a listening ear to both the parties complaining. Don't, like the Baganda say, tosala gwa kawala nga tonawuliriza gwa kalenzi. That is literally what we mean by fair hearing. Now, fair hearing has principles which govern fair hearing. Before you accord fair hearing, there are things you must do. And when you do them, those are the principles that you must follow as you give a ruling. For example, number one, notice. Make sure that the person you are accusing is given a notice of what they have covered. If we are in a company, we are in an organization, and someone commits a crime or does not follow the rules of the company, before you make a decision, give them a notice. That notice, one, should be telling them what they have done. Two, inviting them to come and you listen to them. In the event you don't do that, then you have not accorded natural justice. You have not given that somebody a good, fair hearing. Number two, a right to representation. That when you notify them, allow them get a lawyer. They have a right to represent them. Do not just bring them, no lawyer, decide, send them away. Let them have a representation through a lawyer. Let them decide either to have a representation or not to have a representation. Then number two, right to reply. When you tell them what they have done, allow them give you a reply in what you have just accused them of doing. In the event you don't follow all these things, then you have not accorded a fair hearing. The right to be heard. Invite them for conferencing to be heard. Listen to all the parties. Those are some of the principles which govern fair hearing. A question will arise in a problem question when they want to discuss these principles of natural justice. They may tell you that so-and-so works here, he's been there for 5 years, he has now done this, and now the boss has sent him a letter dismissing him from the job because of what he done. So, look at the principles governing natural justice. Has the boss given him a notice? Has he been allowed a lawyer? Has he been called? Has he replied to the claims put against him? Have they gone through it? Have they listened and then made a decision after listening to both parties? Where all those are not met, then there was no natural justice. Then there you did not follow natural justice. Let's take a case of Betty Namboze versus Reverend Bakaluba Mukasa. In that case, the Chief Justice Emeritus, as he was then Benjamin Odochi, set it straight and said that fair hearing is a pillar, a mother of all laws in the country that ought to be followed. In the event you do not follow the principles of fair hearing, then you have not accorded good fair hearing to the people. Just 2 days ago, we had a Locus Cascas case that we can still use on fair hearing, and that is Attorney General versus Kabaziguruka, a Supreme Court decision where the Chief Justice, Owinyi Doro, set it clearly that in the event that a court, a tribunal like the court martial, in the case that they don't have qualified lawyers, they are not qualified in law, in the event that the army follows orders, a person cannot be accorded a fair hearing in such a court. And that explains why all civilians have now been removed from that court. You cannot go to that court. Why? The fear is to break the rule of law. When you don't follow natural justice, you don't promote it, when you do not accord someone a fair hearing, then there is no law. Because the Chief Justice Emeritus, as he was then, Benjamin Odoki, put it that fair hearing is the mother of all laws. This is what we must follow if you want to promote constitutionalism, if you want to promote rule of law. So that is the principle of fair hearing. Let's go to the principle, the second principle under fair hearing, which is nemo judex inkozwa swa, which means you cannot be a judge in your own case. Professor Emeritus Honorable Justice Kanyeyamba, in his book, he tells you that a monkey cannot be a judge in the affairs of the forest. Because the moment you make a monkey to be the judge in the affairs of the forest, then it is going to be biased. So this is what we call the rule against bias. Nemo judex inkozwa swa. That you cannot be a judge in your own matter. That where you become a judge in your own matter, chances are you're going to be biased. The rule against bias. So we are saying that when you are according someone a fair hearing under Awudi Altrama Patel, when you accord somebody a fair hearing, then even look at the constitution. Look at the constitution of the people who are determining the matter. Where those people have interest, the chances are those people are going to be biased. So we are saying the rule against bias. It might be a pecuniary interest, that there is matters of money. The judge has interest because they have money, they want to get money. Such a person, if you see that there is interest in line of money, then that person cannot be the judge in that matter. In the event that person becomes a judge in that matter, then it means that there will be no natural justice promoted. There will be no fair hearing. To accord a good fair hearing, you must have an impartial committee that is leading the matter. Look at a scenario where, another rule of bias, where the wife is in a matter and the husband is the judge. The husband is the judge and the wife is in a matter. So, do you expect it really for us to have good judgment in that case? Look at the scenario where, let's say a judge is at one of the villages, maybe at the restaurant or at the bar, and then he says, me, the rest of my life, I hate NRM. So what happens if he gets a case which has an NRM person? The issue is that that person is going to be biased. There are very many types of bias. We cannot compete them. So we urge you to focus and read the types of bias. This is the only way you can pass this number. You must explain what we mean by natural justice. You explain Awudi Altrama Patel, the rule of fair hearing, the principles of fair hearing, and then the nemo judex inkozwa, which means you cannot be a judge in your own case, and then you give the types and the rules of bias, because there are very many, and those four that we have explained. So that is what we mean by natural justice. We thank you so much for watching Law School Made Easy at Law School Made Easy 256. Subscribe, share, like our videos. Thank you so much.